The night began with an unnatural silence across the front line, a silence that hinted at something massive approaching, something Russia had not predicted, something that would shift the psychological balance of the war. Ukraine had prepared for this moment for weeks, testing, adjusting, perfecting the technology that would define the future of warfare. And as the moon hid behind thick clouds, the countdown began. Hello everyone, welcome back to the Frontline Report channel. Please subscribe and like my videos. The atmosphere in the Ukrainian forward base carried a strange tension, the kind that appears just before a game-changing strike. Soldiers standing outside under dim camouflage lights watched as the first set of drones emerged from their launch platforms. Their exterior design was sharper than anything seen before, angular, aerodynamic, coated in radar, absorbing material that made them nearly invisible to Russian detection. The cold air vibrated as the UV glided upward silently, blending with the night. Their surface plates shimmered with adaptive color patterns, another layer of stealth innovation developed through months of battlefield feedback. On their undersides, microcameras moved like eyes, scanning the landscape as if the machines were alive. These drones weren't only weapons. They were intelligence systems, scouts, and precision attackers, combined into a single, compact design. Inside the Ukrainian mobile command truck, the interior was a different world, minimalistic, fast-paced, and glowing with blue screens filled with higher-resolution maps, live telemetry data, and AI-generated predictions. The operators sat close together, fingers tapping quickly but gently, issuing commands in short bursts. The room was quiet not because of fear, but because the system itself needed no loud instructions. The AI handled most of the processing, leaving humans only to supervise and approve critical decisions. It was a perfect fusion of human intuition and machine precision. Performance became clear the moment the drones crossed into enemy territory. Russian radar stations attempted early detection, but the incoming objects remained invisible. The drones moved with coordinated precision, shifting altitude in micro-adjustments, recalibrating flight paths based on wind, temperature, and electromagnetic interference. As Russian defense units attempted triangulation, the drones split into formation, confusing the tracking systems with decoy patterns. Ukrainian forces monitored in real time as Russian S-300 and S-400 units launched missiles that shot into empty sky, burning millions in a matter of minutes. The drones continued deeper, transmitting live feeds of Russian troop positions, fuel storage areas, air defense hubs, and communication towers. Not a single shot fired by Ukraine. Instead, every angle, every vulnerability, every weak point was recorded, analyzed, and processed through layers of AI, building the perfect attack sequence. Ukrainian commanders sat forward in their seats as the digital overlays highlighted the ideal strike positions, the blind spots in Russian defenses, and the shortest, safest paths. Safety features in the drones allowed them to survive environments that would destroy conventional UAV. Auto-correction stabilizers countered turbulence. Anti-jamming shields blocked Russian attempts to hijack their signals. Emergency blackout mode enabled the drones to vanish from thermal imaging. Even if a drone were hit, its self-erasing chip would wipe all mission data before impact. This ensured zero chance of Russian forces capturing sensitive information. The moment the drones descended on their targets, the night turned into a series of fiery shockwaves. Explosions erupted across Russian bases, ammo depots detonated into mushrooming flames, fuel tanks burst into towers of burning smoke, and critical command posts went offline instantly. Russia had underestimated the unique selling points that gave Ukraine an overwhelming advantage: autonomous swarm coordination, adaptive target recognition, low-cost manufacturing, and near-zero operating noise. Each drone executed its mission with almost surgical precision, eliminating crucial assets while avoiding civilian infrastructure. The price difference between Ukrainian drones and Russian anti-air systems made the strike even more devastating. A single Ukrainian drone cost less than a modest car, built using 3D printed parts and locally sourced components. Each Russian missile fired in response cost hundreds of thousands. Russia was fighting a financially impossible war, losing more money with every failed interception attempt, while Ukraine spent next to nothing to outperform them. As Russian units scrambled in panic, footage captured by Ukrainian drones revealed confused soldiers firing blindly into the sky. The air defense radar spun uselessly, overloaded by false signals as the drone swarm generated digital shadows. Vehicles attempted to flee the bases but were immobilized by targeted strikes on their fuel supplies. Ukraine had dismantled entire sections of Russian defenses in under an hour, proving that dominance in modern warfare no longer belonged to the side with the most tanks, but the side with the smartest technology. Ukraine's ground forces advanced swiftly once the aerial attacks cleared the path. Armored vehicles rolled into territory previously held tightly by Russian troops. Communications between Russian units broke down. Drones overhead continued to provide live feeds, identifying ambush points before they happened and guiding Ukrainian infantry safely through corridors. Resistance collapsed faster than anyone anticipated. By dawn, Ukraine had gained full operational control of terrain that Russia never expected to lose. In Moscow, the shockwaves of the defeat reached the highest levels of command. Reports flooded in, defense systems breached, bases destroyed, equipment lost, troops retreating. Putin received the briefings with disbelief, his confidence shaken as he watched video evidence showing Ukrainian drones flying freely above Russian territory. He had believed Russian defensive technology was unbeatable, yet it had failed spectacularly in one night. The Kremlin attempted to hide the scale of the disaster, but satellite footage and Ukrainian broadcasts made the truth impossible to deny. Ukraine's successful operation proved to the world that innovation outperformed size. Precision outperformed brute force. Intelligence outperformed intimidation. By the time the sun rose, Ukraine had not only dominated the region, it had dominated the narrative of the war. Russia's defenses were outdated, predictable, and vulnerable, while Ukraine's strategies were dynamic, adaptive, and built on cutting-edge AI. The night became a defining moment in military history, demonstrating how one side could turn the tide of an entire conflict through superior technology and flawless execution. Ukraine had shown that it didn't need thousands of tanks to dominate. It needed intelligence, accuracy, and the courage to evolve. The drones returned to base with empty payloads but full memory logs, ready to transmit data for the next wave of improvements. Ukrainian engineers began analyzing the mission results before the drones even cooled. Every insight would lead to another evolution, another upgrade, another tactical leap, and so Ukraine dominated Russia in a single night, not through luck or chance, but through mastery of modern warfare, strategic brilliance, and unshakable determination. The night became a symbol of the future, a message to the world that wars would no longer be won by the largest army, but by the smartest one. And on that night, Ukraine proved they were the smartest of all.